A few days ago, I was just lying in bed, doing the usual, watching Uber's modded Gran Turismo 3 videos. And while watching the cars breakdance on the Rome circuit, I stumbled upon an ad delivered by Nintendo, labeled as
some princess stuff. Princesses are known for staying sweet with their gowns and their crowns. But not today. Princess Peach, Daisy, and Rosalina are ready to dominate the competition in their own way. Their aces are almost unreturnable. Their hyper strikes can be unstoppable. And don't even think about getting in their way on the fairway. The rest of the competitors better take note, because these girls have the power and are ready to roll. It can all be possible on Nintendo Switch.
At first I was like, huh? And then I was like, wait, what? Rosalina's a princess? So I took my big brain filled with knowledge to my computer and googled whether Rosalina is a princess or not. And she's a what? I do not recall any moment in any Mario game where the words princess and Rosalina exist in the same sentence. Princess Rosalina just doesn't settle well in my tummy. Being the nerdiest nerd in the nerdy club, I took it upon myself to give in valuable time to determine if any one of these three are actually princesses, and spoiler alert, none of them are. Despite being labeled as such, none of these three actually fit the legal criteria of what a princess is, and I have a theory why Nintendo is deliberately doing so. So grab your off-brand ginger snaps and your McDonald's Sprite, because this can of worms is about to get nasty.
That's nasty.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory! A game theory parody that is sure to bring a tear to your eye. Because the Mario princesses are not princesses!
Dear God.
You have been lied to!
No.
Despite Nintendo consistently referring to Peach and Daisy as princesses, they are in fact not. Let me explain by showing you what the legal definition of a princess is. In order to be legally labeled as a princess, you must be A, a daughter or granddaughter of a living king or queen, or B, a woman whose spouse is a prince and has a shot at royal succession. With this in mind, let us turn to Peach first. Ah yes, classic Peaches. Peaches! The damsel in distress. Beauty in a pink dress. Everybody's favorite yellow-haired, level-headed, bike-riding, mushroom-eating, super-slugging, Koopa-kicking, fairway-dancing, turnip-picking, Goomba-stomping, tennis-spiking princess is nothing but a bunch of lies. You see, we know of absolute certainty that Peach is the sole ruler of the Mushroom Kingdom. This fact is backed by Nintendo themselves. Or is it? You see, a Mushroom King and Queen did exist in older game manuals, and as such, Peach would then be legally labeled as a princess, if they were canon. We have many visual clues indicating that there is a higher monarch than Peach, but this didn't really get anywhere outside of manga and game manuals. Nintendo doesn't even acknowledge the existence of these supreme monarchs that they themselves created. So despite literally being called the Mushroom King, he simply does not exist. Not anymore anyways. And with that being said, with no contesting family to oversee the throne, Peach is really the only one who rules the kingdom, which, my friends, no longer makes her a princess. Peach is a queen. That's right, peasants! Kneel before your royal highness and kiss thy royal toes. Actually, let's not do that. That would be weird. So to sum up Peach, she is legally defined as a queen because she is the sole ruler of the Mushroom Kingdom, and as such, she does not fit the legal criteria of being labeled as a princess. So, if Peach is considered a queen because she rules over the Mushroom Kingdom, what do you call it when someone rules not over one, not two, but 4 different kingdoms at once? Let's find out by traveling to Sarasaland. Ah, Sarasaland. A tropical paradise. I can still feel the sunburns after bathing near an oasis within Birabuto. I remember seeing the mysterious UFOs roaming above the island of Muda. I can still taste the local delicacies of chai. And I can still hear the vine boom sound effects on the island of Easton. These 4 kingdoms was the highlight of my life. The best vacation anyone can ask for. To think that all of this beauty can be maintained by a 19-year-old sassy tomboy princess is just mind-blowing. Wait a minute, come to think of it, I don't think she's a princess at all.
You're a fake and a fraud!
That's because Princess Daisy is not a princess. If Peach is a queen by simply ruling one kingdom, what does that make Daisy, who rules 4 separate kingdoms? It's not actually that hard to figure out, which is why if I were to just call her out, her segment wouldn't last much longer than this. So let's go over each kingdom that she rules separately, shall we? First up is the kingdom of Birabuto. This kingdom is what many people would picture whenever they see Sarasaland, a desert-like environment with scattered oases everywhere you look. It mostly resembles Egypt, with all the pyramids, sphinxes, and dunes. Next up is the kingdom of Chai, likely the most populous kingdom of Sarasaland. It mostly resembles northern China with its mountains, bamboo forests, and eastern architecture. Our third kingdom is the Muda Kingdom, which is an island based off the lost continent of Mu in modern-day Bermuda, with its UFOs and ocean views. The last kingdom is Easton Kingdom, which is another island based on modern-day Easter Island, with all the vine boom sound effects everywhere you look. These 4 kingdoms make up the greater Sarasaland that we know today, which is ruled by Daisy. So what does that make her? Daisy is the only person that we know of that rules Sarasaland, and as stated before, does not fit the criteria of being legally labeled as a princess. I mean, unless Luigi is a secret prince of a long-lost kingdom, but that is very unlikely. Since she has more than one kingdom under her domain, that would legally make her an empress. That's right, people. Sarasaland is an empire. A nation of different cultures coming together to live as one, under a single ruler. This makes more sense when you actually look up the definition of an empire. Quote, an extensive group of states or countries under a single supreme authority, formerly especially an emperor or empress. This definition of an empire is a perfect fit for Sarasaland, and that further confirms that Daisy is in fact a princess. That further confirms that Daisy is in fact an empress. Peach and Daisy had it easy compared to Rosalina. It was actually very easy to determine what Peach and Daisy were just by knowing what their role is in the Marioverse. However, I was not prepared for the amount of time it would take for me to figure out what Rosalina is. In order to figure out what she is, we need to figure out her position in royal lineage. Is she even royal at all? Many theories speculate her to be related to Peach and the royal blood of the Mushroom Kingdom. But despite having some obscure clues in her book, it's nearly impossible to determine where she fits. And I stated before that Peach and Daisy almost always had the word princess appear before their names in a lot of games. However, I do not recall a single instance where Rose was ever described as a princess. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. When I asked Google if Rosalina was a princess or not, Google described her as an intergalactic princess. Where did they pull that information from? I genuinely do not know where Google got that information from. And I've played Super Mario Galaxy more times than the UK has ever seen the sun. Trust me, I know my stuff. I can say with absolute certainty that nowhere in this game is she ever described as an intergalactic princess. So what is she? There's an excellent article on MarioWiki.com that explains every time Rosalina has ever appeared on screen in any Mario game, and explains in far detail what her purpose is in the games are. I have not played every Mario game that contains a presence, so using this article I do my research, and came up with the following conclusion. There is no definitive answer.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
When I made my Who is Rosalina video a few months back, I went over the bedtime story she reads and came up with the conclusion that Rosalina is the mother and caretaker of unborn celestial bodies. And that's really it. Even while researching this project, there isn't a single bit of evidence that I could find that appoints her as a princess. I mean, she has a crown, but, oh wait, she has a crown! When most people see crowns, they would typically think they're royal, and by definition, they would be right, as crowns are typically worn by members of royal blood, such as kings, queens, and yes, even princesses. However, let's take a closer look at that crown. Is it really a crown? A crown, by definition, is a circular ornamental headdress worn by a monarch as a symbol of authority, usually made of or decorated with precious metals and jewels. Now this seems like a very convincing description. I mean, it matches nearly spot on. But what about another piece of headgear called a coronet? A coronet is a small crown, consisting of ornaments fixed on a metal ring. I've done way too much research on royal headpieces, and the crown on Rosalina's head closely resembles both a crown and a coronet. The difference here is who exactly wears such a headpiece. A crown is worn by royalty, while a coronet is worn by other nobility, such as dukes, viscounts, barons, and etc. The reason I'm bringing this up is because we can confirm that her headpiece fits the physical description of a coronet. It also fits for a crown. However, it is uncertain that Rose is a princess to begin with. Although there is no way to confirm that she is royal blood, we can confirm what kind of headpiece she is wearing, and that's why I'm saying it's not a crown, but is instead a coronet. If we're speaking in legal terms, Rose is not a princess, but at the very least, a viscountess. And to be honest, just from her headpiece alone, she could be labeled as a whole host of titles, all of which are not yet finalized conclusions. However, if there is one thing we know of absolute certainty, is that Rose is the mother and caretaker of unborn celestial bodies. Her official royal title has yet to be concluded, but after spending an hour researching crowns and heraldry, I have just about had enough and I give up. Although there is no definitive answer to what exactly Rose is, I'm gonna go with my gut feeling and say she's a goddess. Why a goddess? I mean, have you ever seen a princess float? In conclusion, Peach, Daisy, and Rose are not princesses, despite Nintendo saying so. And that brings up a question. Why? Why would Nintendo label these ladies as princesses, rather than what they really are? My theory is that Nintendo is attempting to reach to all youthful audiences in the male-dominant industry, showcasing whatever boys can do, girls can do too. I say this especially when it comes to American youth, because what is it that young girls like and can relate to here in the States? Princesses. That is also why I believe Peach is growing more and more as a playable character, rather than a damsel in distress, so that they can appeal to all youthful audiences. But that's just a theory, a game theory.